A major indicator for how well you're going to do as a leader is your speed of change, how fast you can work on yourself and start improving. If you tend to work in a rate that doesn't really get you moving any faster, if you're very lackadaisical, you're not trying to find how to improve constantly, you're going to see your team around you either outgrow you and then you're going to get a nasty call from the CEO, or instead you're going to become the high watermark for your team and people are going to be working at your rate when it comes to how fast they improve, which is going to be worse. So either way, if you want to unlock having an amazing team, a team that really moves the needle, you yourself have to role model changing, working on yourself, improving constantly and fast. Is that demanding? Is that hard? Is it challenging? You bet it is. But not doing that is going to be a lot harder, at least in the long term, even if in the short term, it just might feel like you're doing okay. In this video, we're going to cover some of the tips and some of the things that I see working for the best leaders I've had the privilege of working with, so you can start implementing them, reviewing your tendencies today and what you can change with yourself in order to keep growing and even faster as a leader. By the way, if you're new here, hi, I'm Aviv Ben-Yosef. I'm a tech executive, coach, and consultant, and I work with people just like you to ensure that you're leading teams worth leading. Life is too short to lead mediocre teams, and you will almost never see a team worth leading, a team that's genuinely above the average out there, if their leader is not above the average as a leader. You usually set the stage, you set some sort of bar, and it's pretty rare to have the organization be better than the leader when it comes to how they work, how fast they learn, and you are there to unlock this. So let's get to it and start talking about what you can do and how you should be improving to get faster, better, and become the leader your potential allows you to be. If you've checked out my books, I covered this and I call this usually speed of change. It's not the velocity of the team, as in how much the team is delivering every single sprint, but more like the acceleration, if you're getting what I'm saying. This is about how fast you're improving, how fast you're learning. We can talk about this when it comes to your team, but in this video, we're focusing on what this means for you. For example, two real cases that I had seen in the past couple of months. One is with a VP of engineering that no matter how dire the situation seemed, no matter what feedback that VP was getting from me directly, from the peers, from the CEO, that VP kept doing things very lackadaisically. We have time, yes, okay, I'm gonna start working on that, taking literally months to come up with a plan to do something where you can see that the fire is there and it's spreading, but the VP still was doing things in his own pace. This is someone with a very, very low speed of change, someone that allows things to happen for way too long, drag on, as opposed to tackling them faster. And tackling them faster, by the way, doesn't mean that I expect you to do things very capriciously without thinking it through. I am saying that you need to get moving. You know, the one thing that we cannot make more of is time. We all share the same amount of time here every day, every year. And therefore, if you're letting time go to waste, there's no recovering it. Let's contrast that with another amazing new CTO I had the option of working with recently, who, whenever we talked about an issue, whenever we spotted something, within a couple of days, he already took the time to work on himself, decide what he wants to do, or come up with some follow-up questions. Here are the first steps I'm taking, and I've read this, and I researched that, and I'm already trying to implement this, and I talked with that guy. Someone that is so eager to keep working, to invest in themselves, to not let themselves slip by because we have so many other things that are urgent. And therefore, that CTO is growing leaps and bounds, and every single week you can just witness with your own eyes the growth the person is going through. You can see how fast they learn, and even when they have mistakes, even when they do the wrong thing, even when they miss something, you see how fast they internalize the lessons and learn from them. They don't let things drag on. They act, they react, they're there. And when you have that, not only, for me as a coach, that's like the best case scenario. It just feels so fulfilling and really a privilege to be able to work with people who will just work so fast and not let things drag on. It really shines, and you see how people really react to this across the board. You see how their peers start trying to operate faster as well when we're talking about healthy organizations, because all of a sudden they see that there's more room to work with here. We can actually move things faster. You see CEOs becoming a lot more relaxed and trusting in these people because they can see all the growth. They can see how fast they're internalizing mistakes and becoming better, getting feedback and acting on it. Not something that you have to keep reminding and waiting and nagging about for months to start seeing some progress. And I have a past, I think, podcast episode I recorded recently. I'll link to it somewhere here. You're going to see a card on the screen where I talk about how do you create a sense of urgency in your organization without just you abusing deadlines, giving people deadlines just in order to make them work harder, but actually creating a team that has that sense of we don't want to waste time, of moving much faster. And if you want to create that, you yourself can do that by working at that sort of level and being a role model that makes everyone below you start noticing that and trying to keep up with you. Because that's what good people do. So if you have the right talent, just by improving yourself, you're going to almost immediately see others starting to rush to keep up with you. And that's amazing. That's almost a free benefit from investing in yourself, where you're going to see others around you starting to improve. How can you start working on your personal speed of change? First of all, stop dilly-dallying. Stop waffling over decisions when it comes to how you do things. You need to have leadership blocks. Another video I'm going to link to somewhere here. And when you have these leadership blocks in place, regularly, every week, you should be thinking, how am I progressing? What am I doing? Am I doing better than I did the past week? Review what were your points, what you wanted to work on, and whether you've made enough progress. Don't give yourself excuses, but actually track this. See, like you would do with retros with your team, whether the percentage of things that you change from one retro to the next is high enough or not. Are you just sitting there writing things and never acting on them, or are you actually implementing the majority? You want to ensure that you're constantly improving, that you're not making the same mistakes week after week, but making new mistakes. You're not going to make no mistakes, so at least make new ones. Keep improving, keep getting better. And when you review this, when you have your personal notes, your personal goals, I want you to sometimes also think about longer term what you need to do. Not just this week I want to improve at something, but assess yourself. Try to once a quarter or so assess how you're doing. What are the areas where you can improve a lot personally, because maybe you need to work on your communication, maybe you want to do something when it comes to your technical capabilities, learning a bit more about the business, and set your own goals. I have a free ebook that's called the Impact Coaching Framework, where I describe how you can install it for yourself and for the people in your organization to ensure that people keep learning and much faster than you might think is possible. And when you use the impact framework on yourself, you start increasing your speed of change so fast that for some people it might appear like you're Neo in the Matrix, learning really, really fast. I've seen it happen before where it made a 180 change in a company because a couple of executives really started investing in themselves with the impact coaching framework. So if you want to read more about that, the link is in the video description if I remember to put it there. And once we move on from the basics of setting these things, another key part of having a healthy speed of change is to ensure that you're getting feedback. You need to regularly and openly ask for criticism, ask for ideas, ask for reviews and feedback from your peers, from your colleagues, from people reporting to you, from the CEO, anyone that you can actually sit down with and get some feedback, get it. It doesn't mean that every bit of feedback you get is necessarily right and necessarily prioritized, and you have to act on it. But if you actively ask for feedback, if you create a culture where people tell you when they notice areas where you can improve or have ideas of making things better, you're going to spot these opportunities much earlier, not when it has become so clear to everyone around that this is a problem that you only then wake up when we do things way past the point of where we should have acted. But you're going to be an early adopter, someone who actually spots issues before they become fires that you have to put out. Just because the speed of change, working faster means that with time, you're going to have more of a buffer. You're not always going to be putting out fires. You're going to be seeing ahead. You're going to be a step, maybe even two, ahead of what's coming. So instead of being always in the area where you have to deal with risks after they've happened, you can actually have preventive action. You can start working on things to ensure that they're going in the right direction rather than being reactive. And that's amazing. That frees even more time for you to invest in yourself and invest in your people to ensure that your organization even keeps growing. So this creates a very positive feedback loop where you invest in yourself, you become better, therefore having the time to become even better to invest in the people around you. So the speed of change and investing in how fast you grow is not rocket science, but it does mean that you have to stop making excuses for yourself. Is it easier if you're working with someone like myself to do that much faster and install these habits? Yeah, it definitely is. And if you want to talk about that, again, my email's in the video description and I'm happy to chat. But I am certain you can also do it by yourself. It might require some more effort, it might require some more time, but it is possible to install these habits and start seeing the improvements that you want to see in order to become the leader you can be and to allow your team to have the leader that can help them get better, grow, and fulfill everyone's potential. If you have any comments, if you have any ideas, let me know in the comments. I really appreciate that. And other than that, I'm reminding you, perhaps for the final time, that Unplugged with Aviv is still at ridiculously low introductory pricing, where we're going to have at least once a month this sort of chat where I talk about something, about a specific subject, share this session for about an hour, and also am open for questions related to the subject or not, so you can be a part of this group where you're going to learn, see what other people are asking, and in general, invest a bit more in yourself and in your speed of change, because you're always going to get ideas to keep improving. So the link to that and all the details is in the video description. Thank you, and I'll see you here in the next video.